my God, you're here. Bro, brat. Okay. Are you ready? All right. Hi, this is the afternoon keynote, at least for this time slot. Don't go to any other presentation happening right now because this is the room to be in. Yeah, forget it. Okay, so Financial Internet by Pavel, a distributed lab.
Hello. So actually this topic was kind of created even before the first beep appeared, but I was always hesitant to talk about that. Like,
the presentation's still the same.
No, I was good joke, yeah. Presentation is different, but maybe somebody remembers infraproject.org that was like launched in the website was launched there, not the project, in August 2015. So these are like the development of these ideas, and I'll try to explain like what we've been working in distributed lab over all these years. You may have heard that we are working on tokenization or on blockchain or something else, but that's actually what we are working on. And I'll cover some topics. So first of all, what I'm trying to talk about. So I believe that all we should do, like engineers, eventually is to create financial internet, which is just a simple situation when all accounting systems in the world, they speak the same language. So it just means that they have API that supports cryptographic signatures and timestamping and etc. And these APIs are needed to manage ownership rights. So regardless of the type of the asset, whether it's money or stocks or real estate or some shit coins, doesn't really matter. It's just the way how to manage the ownership rights, like transfers and so on. And obviously, during this blockchain hype, or time chain hype, or whatever hype, people were trying to earn a lot of money and to copy Bitcoin, and they thought that Bitcoin is financial internet, or internet of value, or some other definitions. But inherently it is not, because obviously Bitcoin is not the stock, or just every asset needs its own system. It has its own issuer, custodian. If it's real estate, it's real estate. If it's stock, it's stock. And it cannot be possibly on the single ledger because it will be overblown. So financial internet is not a global shared ledger, the single one. It is not a global consensus between everybody. It's not like that we have some validators that are validating everything, or a single identity provider, or not a base currency. So these things are some features that could be within certain system, but not the whole thing. So internet, real internet, has no dedicated consensus or ledger, etc. It's a set of independent systems. So the problems that we are going to solve is that each system, independent system, that's very important, independent, has to use the same language to communicate with the rest of the world. It basically needs to protect the information inside using cryptography, and not the firewalls or administrators or some techniques that are that came from the past. And currently, the processes in the centralized systems are not transparent, and data is vulnerable. And it's because cryptography is not used properly to verify transactions, to basically create integrity checks and confidentiality, etc. And cryptography should be used everywhere. I'm a cryptographer, so that's natural. I will have some job. So in basic principles of financial internet are very simple. It's just a set of independent systems. They speak again the same language, which is API, which is cryptographically signed. And every request, every operation is signed as well. So nothing more. It doesn't really matter what is architecture of individual system. It's like on the web, on the normal internet, who cares which web server are we using, whether it's Nginx, Apache, or whatever. It matters that it uses HTTP, and that's it. So the architecture is more or less straightforward. We have accounting systems that use their own design. That doesn't matter. We have clients, we have data storages, we have data feeds, We have like kind of a DNS, and they all like just query each other. So it's again very simple, like internet works.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've been thinking about it. This kind of quite straightforward idea. No token, no like to the moon. It just simple interoperability between components. And we've been working on it, and I'm like happy to show that we finalized the first draft, put it in a book, and everybody will get a copy for free, sure. So we've been working for last 2 months, like very actively, putting it all together. Then obviously we had some materials, and now we kind of assembled it in one book, where all the principles. It's a technical book, so inside you will see it's a lot of like descriptions of protocols and schemes and pictures. Not funny pictures though. It's mostly like very serious pictures. Yeah. And here we describe how keys should be managed, common approaches, how identities should be managed in a decentralized environment, how like roles can be managed, and authentication protocols. So like very technical things. Obviously, like this is based on our experience of building systems, but it's not any blockchain related. So we're not even using the word blockchain too much. On the cover that we are not mentioning blockchain particularly. And we mention our product only once in About Us. So it's not a marketing book. Basically, it doesn't matter which the format of the key, and the anonymity techniques are also like very general. So we are happy if you can read that and contribute and saying, oh, we are like doing bad job in this page or in good job on that page. Sure. We even have reviewers of this book here. Christian flew from Cuba. He spent a whole month correcting each sentence. Can you imagine 200 something pages? Like, oh, I on Y on, etc. So that was a big thing.
I was drinking on Cuba. So.
Yeah. So you made some mistake. We have who this is book for, or something like this. After a few corrections, I can actually see in Google Docs. You can see who did that, right? Who this is book for, but it's fine. You will understand. So. Manifesto says about how financial internet should work, what it means for engineer, what it in a small print, what it means for business people, and yeah, that's it. So the principles of just for engineers, how users should interact with financial internet. Very straightforward. It's the first place, but very complicated in the other. So users should have a wallet, an open source wallet. There could be a variety of wallets. And this wallet has to be connected, it could be connected to any accounting system, independent accounting system, where a user has certain assets. So if user has money in this bank, the wallet will be looking into that bank. If user has the money or like stocks, wallet will be also connected in the registry or land, etc. So everything will be in one wallet. And it makes sense. It could be multi-sig, it doesn't really matter. But it won't be many applications looking into different systems that are not interoperable. It could be one wallet that covers all this complexity of working between systems. So identifier should be the same for all systems because like the private key and the hash of the key, the public key is unique across all systems. That's very good because you don't need to create many identifiers. You don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. And users are able to manage KYC keys themselves, or like outsource that. You can have recovery if you need, whatever. And what's one important point, which is different from systems that we have now, that users in the wallet will store all the transactions related to the user signed by appropriate custodians. So you will not have a problem when you say, oh, I don't know how this transaction has happened, where did it go, etc. You will always have the full ledger of your transactions. Now I will show a video of, it's the first, of how it will look for users. And it should not, like that we realized very recently, it was an insight, that users should not know about keys, blockchain, tokens, anything. They should just care about the business processes they are involved in. And businesses should not also know about blockchain, tokens, nothing. The technology should be fully behind the whole thing, not the upfront, because that's what stops people using technology, but they don't know what to do with that. Even me sometimes. So I will show you and will comment about the video. It has no sound, I'm the sound. About the example of the, for example, simple loyalty system or a simple ticket sales system. So let's say some business wants to sell t-shirts on the internet, they sign up into some web page, they fill details, they're selecting their Google Me t-shirt. The administrator, some administrator approves this business, that business is legit, passed whatever KYC, and indeed selling t-shirts. Then business is approved. Business now can create assets. The assets could be anything. Bonus points, loyalty, some gift cards, cards that represent a particular t-shirt. You can add actual assets, which is a t-shirt, and so on. So when assets are created, the business can start invite users already, like let's say, signed up for a loyalty program with traditional, like they were in some list. You can copy, all these users will get an email through an app. App is also there. So you get an invite. They sign up. They sign up only once. They create this unique identifier that stores in the PKI. And assets can be seen. Now the business can issue, so basically transfer assets to users. We see who was registered. So we transfer in 100 bonus points to a particular user. And users now can exchange these points or any other asset that was there. And they can use any email or any phone in whatever. They don't need to be registered up front because it's managed via public infrastructure. The business can set up direct sales for, like in our case, for Bitcoin, it could be for fiat, which means that the user will be able just to buy an asset, not to receive, but to buy. In our case, we had the coin payments integrated. So, and users, again, whatever they bought, they can transfer further if business said that this is transferable. If next business comes, next business is selling tickets for blockchain UA and for BIP. So business creates these assets, they are transferable, and now users who are also invited, like Anastasia will put all the emails in the system, everybody will get the message, and now within the app, the user will be able to see also new assets. And it will be like in a browser. So user opens the same app, chooses different businesses. There could be many. It's like shops. Sees the assets. So one browser for all assets. Then, like an additional feature, the crowdfunding can be made, where the Anastasia says, I need to sell 500 tickets minimum for blockchain UA for $20 each, then the conference will be successful. And like crowdfunding is created, and users can see the details of the crowdfunding, how much is gathered, participate. They can resell the tickets further if they want to, etc. And some single polls. So let's vote which date is the best for the blockchain UA. And users again can answer in the app, and we can set up like reward for participation in this activity. Like if we answer, we get some bonus point or maybe a ticket. Maybe we can raffle a ticket. So again, nor business nor user should not see any complex words, nor identifiers, keys, nothing. It should be very simple flow. But behind, we have the DNS, we have public infrastructure, and we have the accounting system that's based on cryptography. Regarding interoperability, it's a very important question. I believe that there is no need in interoperability at all. And whoever is building interoperability between different blockchains may be just spending money just for nothing. Why? Because in real life, systems are not interoperable. When you're buying like water downstairs and you're paying with credit card, the credit card system doesn't know anything about water, about the system of the business. And in many cases it's true, and they should not know about each other. The only thing that happens is that in the registry, the owner of water, whatever, changes, like, the balance is changed, and the owner of money is changed within the system. So basically it's like atomic swap. In case of atomic swap, both systems should not know about each other. That's an ideal case. That can be done if systems support the same signature schemes. So if they are very fancy like Bitcoin, Ether, EOS, yeah, you have to build interoperability, but if you are talking about the simple business cases, you don't have to. So it becomes much simpler. You don't need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to interoperate. And if atomic swaps are not enough, maybe you need to review the deal or support some mediation. You can use trustless mediators. There are like threshold schemes where mediators cannot steal anything, and yeah, it can be used easily. Again, systems will not know about each other. What you need to know about the signature that you're expecting on the transaction. So, what we have built over these years? We've been building Tokenity. I think you've heard it's our main product that we are selling. This is a white label like tokenization, if you like, accounting or digitization system. It manages the ledger, manages audits, manages roles and fees and limits, so no rocket science. You can build like a STO platform, a crowdfunding platform, or a payment system, anything. It has no internal token, obviously. It's like you just set up it on your servers and that's it. It's like WordPress. We've built key servers that store securely user keys, and the server doesn't have access to key. Again, this architecture is not for you. I've been working on this on Stellar, and we just improved it a few things. We've built the first version of kind of a global PKI, which has to be open source, fully decentralized, owned by nobody, and this is just the time chain, exactly, like what has happened with certain identifier and who did this change, like who certified this email or phone or whatever. And we are launching it in July, and in 2-3 weeks. And who wants to have a look and hold a node? Yeah, there's no reward, obviously, just basically holding database of hashes of identities and node. Okay, then we have a wallet, which is open source already and can be connected to any system that supports the same APIs. You saw it on the video. We built like a simple prototype of decentralized DNS system because all the these businesses accounting systems should not know to which wallet they should be talking and send push notifications. And this implementation for loyalty is just a reference app system that will be launching also in July. And businesses can just start issuing their bonus cards, loyalty, and telling users that, okay, take this app from the App Store and just use it today. There's option for redeem, for pay, and etc. You'll be connecting some fiat at some point, some gateway. So that's what we've been busy with. And all of that is some components of financial internet that doesn't care which consensus mechanism is inside particular accounting system or which signature scheme. It should be very abstract. So we'll be glad for feedback and for questions and for any kind of critiques. Thanks.
Two microphones or another microphone?
Okay.
So when incorporating a PKI, there is different retention times of personal data in different jurisdictions, first of all. And second, there is a new legislation now of Germany that I know of, where you can recycle a
Beer into
again?
recycle a beer
No, it's
into
not
private data.
beer recycling, it's actually identity recycling. Because you can recycle with verify or verif, you can recycle your identity authentication that you already did through Web ID or ID Now, and that is valid up to a certain extent. So how do you incorporate the legislative or the jurisdictional specifications of each country's or each jurisdictions? Is it possible, first of all?
Sure, it is possible. So this PKI is nothing more than synchronization between different identity providers.
Okay.
So the main problem with internet security, one of the biggest, is that somebody can create a certificate of public key from any certificate authority. Mm-hmm. So I saw the guy was changing the certificate in the browser, in his browser, and my phone was showing me random data when I was connecting to LinkedIn, because my LinkedIn app was thinking that he's connected to LinkedIn, but instead I was connecting to some other thing. And it's easy because currently the root certificates are issued by this root certificate authorities. They do not know what they are issuing, and it's like a simple problem, but the solution is not very simple. So it's just a synchronization layer. Regarding like data privacy, it's the same. It's not something new. It just you still using GDPR. You're not storing actual data anywhere. You store it on the hashes of it. And that's it. So this time chain will store events associated with a particular identity. Whoever was telling you that something has happened, and then you as a user, you set up. You say, I am trusting this particular CA to like do some changes, and I don't trust this CA to initiate some changes.
That means I need somehow a kind of a trust score or trust level on each route.
To some extent,
yeah.
But it's set up by individually by users or businesses, not by themselves.
So is this built in the system, or is this something that's from outside coming in? It's like a review system.
It doesn't need to be built into the system.
Okay.
So it's like when you go to Booking.com, you decide to trust particular rating, right? There's no rating agency, right? You say, I know these Ukrainians, they always faking this rating, right? So I would rather select hotel with 9+, right? The rating, not like 8, because 8 is like bullshit. So the same stuff. So it's up to the user. You win the 7-star, 7 rating, yeah? Any more questions?
Pavel, what have you got done on the DNS system that you mentioned?
So DNS currently is just not a particular placeholder, but a system that takes information about where the particular wallet should be connected if they want to be connected to this particular business. So it's like real DNS system, but just provides more information, not about ID, but about public key of the business, so that you can verify data coming from there.
Give you a DNS of all the assets that are produced in this network?
Assets, basically asset always has an issuer, like if it's a physical asset, then it's custodian. And the custodian has an identity, which means that they have a public key, and the public key should be like associated with their IP and public other information. So not particularly about the assets, but about like accounting systems. So you know, it's again like your browser knows websites that you are accessing. You put in Google Chrome, and it translates into IP address and MAC address.
So would that be the same with the issuers then? Would I be going to kind of issuers registry of?
Kind of registry of the issuers. It should be decentralized registry of the issuers. Okay.
No, wait. One more.
You read the book. You read the book.
I know, that's why I have an informational advantage. So, and this is a pain in the ass question, but still, I need to know. Real life scenario, we're tokenizing real estate right now. And there is a lot of paper-based processes that you can't circumvent at this point because there's a notary involved, you need lawyers, you need all these purchase agreements, etc. They need to be put down on paper. So, how in the future, as like a vision, is Token D helping to really tokenize not only the asset per se, but digitizing the whole process from procurement to actually transfer of asset ownership, which is already like done in Propi in Colorado in the US. And my problem right now is what all these, wie heißen die German Berlin brick blocks. They're tokenizing assets right now, but they're all doing it through a special purpose vehicle. So you create a fund, you then distribute the percentages of the fund to the people only, and then you have kind of like a fractional ownership.
Right.
How
but
can
it's not
Token D?
ownership.
Excuse me?
It's not ownership. You own the pies and the fund.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point. So the question is, can Token D actually enable real ownership in these assets instead of just like a secondary vehicle ownership?
But it's not question here about the legality. It's not question of the technicality.
Yeah,
It's question
exactly.
about how to legally
I was
structure
about to say,
ownership.
did you hear the part about the most expensive crypto attorney?
Okay, can we go drink? Do you have drinks now?
Now, no.
So yeah,
Now my rate is triple.
Okay, that's not
I'm
good.
only charging him double.
I know you on Facebook, so that's not good.
double whiskey.
Yeah, definitely. Here, I'll give you the password. Legal services. It's
Okay.
Macau.
Let's stop here, right?
7 million liters of Jim Beam
Jim Beam, what?
burned. Yeah.
No,
Is your password?
Here?
No, not here. Not here. In the US.
Oh, okay. Well.
There you go. So
You
actually,
know
answer
where I'm
exactly.
going.
I know exactly where you're going. We literally every time Pavel comes to LA, we could go to a bar and like hang out, but we're up all night, nothing weird, talking about how to do this.
Next time we do it on Perch, it's very nice of you.
Yeah, no, Perch is great.
This is great.
Yeah.
There you go.
So exactly, the question is not about technology. Technology can do everything, but then how to connect it to legal system? You need to have a contract that says that this system is the only the holder of all the assets. If
Actually,
you do that,
hold on, no,
That's a technological question again because we're talking about legal pros now, right?
Wait, pause for a second.
Legal
Since you do
pros.
follow me on Facebook, look for my presentation. I'm not kidding. Okay, it's Mark Andreessen. You know, he had the last mile problem.
Yeah.
This is the last meter problem, which is how do you wire up software to assets and how do you do it in a legally enforceable way. And I have a presentation about this.
the counter already started.
I mean, really.
No, I'm not kidding either because in Germany, Blockchain Embassy Berlin, they actually issued the first legal
I got it.
pros.
I mean,
contract
Ukraine has something
for
similar,
something.
but how do you, when you don't have a regulatory system? Okay, everyone, Pavel, it's awesome.
Yes.